What up, YouTube? Logo here. Time to see what the Karens and the fools are saying about the Maduro capture. Let's watch this little NBC clip here.
I want to start with this big picture question. Is the United States now at war with Venezuela?
Starting off hot, because that is the dumbest thing I've heard all day. Here we go. This is going to be a long one.
There's not a
Look
war.
at him. He's
we
like,
are at war against drug trafficking
yeah.
organizations. It's not a war against Venezuela.
Stupid. What a stupid question.
American laws with regards to oil sanctions. We have sanctioned entities. We go to court. We get a warrant. We seize those boats with oil, and that will continue. We will continue to reserve the right to take strikes against drug boats that are bringing drugs towards the United States that are being operated by transnational criminal organizations, including the Cartel de los Sols. Of course, the leader of that cartel is now in U.S. custody and facing U.S. justice in the Southern District of New York.
And what a great thing that is. Get these people rounded up. It's time justice is served. I'm tired of all this bullshit. These people run rampant, doing all this crazy stuff, drug trap. Like, just stop it. Just stop it. Get them all. And that's exactly what we did here with Maduro. That guy is an absolute scumbag. And people still try to defend him. Oh, what did you do? Shut up. Shut up. Like, stop trying to defend some crazy person like that. I don't get it. I literally don't get it. And then this lady, of course, she's going to, are we at war with Venezuela? No, we're not at war. Are you stupid? What? That doesn't even make sense.
That's Nicolas Maduro. So we made a big progress in that regard.
Mr. Secretary, who is in charge? Are you running Venezuela right now?
What an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I keep people, fixating on that. Here's the bottom line. We expect to see changes in Venezuela. Changes of all kinds, long-term, short-term. We'd love to see all kinds of changes. But the most immediate changes are the ones that are in the national interest of the United States. That's
the way it should be.
Here because of how it applies and has a direct impact on the United States. We are not going to be able to allow in our hemisphere a country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't
exactly.
We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge
hate
of
us and want us to crumble.
Only cooperating with drug trafficking organizations. We're not going to allow that.
Yeah.
These things are direct threats to the United States.
And then they smuggle the drugs into our country laced with fentanyl, and then we have record high deaths from fentanyl. And I don't know if anyone's seen any of this around. Right now, the drug deaths are on the decline. Why do you think that is? Oh, yeah, maybe because we've been hitting the boats that are coming in, delivering the stuff. Like, it's so ridiculous. And then people try to defend it. Well, how do you know? Listen, we have surveillance all over the place. Of course we know what's going on with these boats. And then the numbers literally show it after the fact. They show us a decline in drug overdoses and drug deaths. And fentanyl is on the decline. That's a good thing. Like, why would anyone try to argue against that? I don't understand it. But people do. The Karens and the idiots of the world, they do. All the time. It makes no sense.
And we intend to use every element of leverage that we have to ensure that that changes. The one I would point everyone to is that our military is helping the Coast Guard conduct a law enforcement function, which is not just the capture of Maduro, but the enforcement of our sanctions. We go to court, we get a warrant, we seize the boats. And we think
Bingo.
there's tremendous leverage, incredible, crippling leverage, which we intend to continue to use until we see the changes that we need to see.
Right there.
To the American people, and by
that's
the
way it should be.
The people of Venezuela as well.
But Mr. Secretary, I think there's a lot of questions about who the point people are during this transition. President Trump said we're going to run the country. So is it you? Is it Secretary Hegseth? Who are those
my God,
people
this lady's
who will
an
be
idiot.
running the country specifically?
Well, it's not running. It's running policy. The policy in regards to this. We want Venezuela.
No one from our country is running their country. That doesn't even make sense, dude. This lady's trying to frame it as something that it's not. Be like, oh, the United States is taking over Venezuela. No, we're not, lady. No, we're not. That doesn't even make sense. Like, my goodness. And they're trying to paint it as some false narrative that it's really not. That's all it is. That's all she's doing is framing it as something that it's not. This shit is so stupid. Like, yeah, we're not running Venezuela. Like, what does that even mean? We're not running Venezuela. My
Venezuela
goodness.
to move in a certain direction, because not only do we think
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
people of Venezuela,
Yeah. We want them to do certain things, of course. Yeah. Why wouldn't we? You ever heard of a negotiation, making a deal? That's how it works. You know, we do stuff for them, they do stuff for us. That's called negotiating, in case you haven't heard. Chief Executive Karen of NBC. Like, come on.
it's in our national interest. It either touches on something that's a threat to our national security or touches on something that's either beneficial or harmful.
And
to
are
the
you
national.
involved in that transition,
So obviously
Secretary?
I'm very involved in this. Well, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course
I think
he is.
Everyone knows I'm pretty involved in the politics of this hemisphere. Obviously, the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor are very involved in all these elements. The Department of War plays a very important role here, along with the Department of Justice, for example, because they're the ones that have to go to court. So this is a team effort by the entire national security apparatus of our country, but it is running this policy. And the goal of the policy is to see changes in Venezuela that are beneficial to the United States, first and foremost,
Bingo.
because that's who we work for, but also, we believe, beneficial for the people of Venezuela who have suffered.
Called a deal.
tremendously. We want a better future for Venezuela, and we think a better future for the people of Venezuela also is stabilizing for the region.
And they know
makes
it
the
too.
neighborhood we live in a much better and safer place.
President Trump said the administration is working with Maduro's Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez. Why does the administration oppose working with the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado? She's the Nobel Peace Prize winner, of course, as well. Her coalition has the support of 70% of Venezuelans. Why not work with her?
Well, a couple things. First of all, Maria Corina Machado is fantastic, and she's someone I've known for a very long time, that whole movement is. But we are dealing with the immediate reality. The immediate reality is that unfortunately, and sadly, but unfortunately, the vast majority of the opposition is no longer present inside of Venezuela. We have short-term things that have to be addressed right away. We all wish to see a bright future for Venezuela, a transition to democracy. Yep. All of these things are great.
Of course.
And we all want to see that. I've worked on that for 15 years.
And the people want to see it too, believe me. That's why they're so happy and they're parading in the streets, because their dictator that has screwed them over relentlessly, nonstop, is finally taken care of. It's plain and simple. But then you have these Karens out here who are, well, why did... shut up. It's just like, what are you talking about, lady? What are you talking about? And all you other people out here, like, what... They try to make it seem like, like it's something that it's not. It literally doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, who am I going to trust? Some deranged white lady from the United States talking about Venezuela, or Venezuelan people who live in Venezuela talking about Venezuela? Who are we going to trust more there? Yeah, I think I'll go with the Venezuelans that are parading in the streets, happy, celebrating that this dictator has finally been captured. And then you have these people trying to frame it like it's something that it's not at NBC and the other Karens out there. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
On a personal level, both in the
so
Senate
annoying.
And now as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. These are things I still care about. We still care about. But what we're talking about is what happens over the next 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, and how that ties to the national interest of the United States. And so we expect to see more compliance and cooperation than we were previously receiving. With Nicolas Maduro, you could not make a deal or an arrangement.
Of course, because he's a dictator.
He was given very generous offers. He could have left Venezuela as recently as a week and a half ago. There were opportunities available for him to avoid all of this, because now he's not someone we can work with. He suckered the Biden administration into stupid deals. He's made a career out of not keeping deals and figuring out how to save himself by buying time. And President Trump was not going to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
So now there are other people in charge of the military and police apparatus.
All it is, what he was just talking about, is time. Well, give us a little more time, a little more, push it along a little more. Well, how much freaking time do you need? Like, it's just literally a scapegoat. Oh, well, we need more time. It's like, okay. And then the second time I come back, you need more time. And then third, fourth, fifth, and then 50 times later, you always need more time, and this and that. It's just like a bunch of obfuscating and bullshit, quite frankly. It's like, we need to do something. We need to take some action. And that's exactly what was done here.
they're going to have to decide now what direction they want to go. And we hope they will choose a different direction than the one Nicolas Maduro picked. Ultimately, we hope this leads to a holistic transition all the way
It
around
will.
in Venezuela, societal, political, all of that. We're in favor of all of that. But right now, we have to take the first steps. And the first steps are securing what's in the national interest of the United States and also beneficial to the people of Venezuela. And those are the things that we're focused on right now. No more drug trafficking, no more Iran Hezbollah presence there.
Bingo.
And no more using the oil industry to enrich all our adversaries around the world and not benefiting the people of Venezuela or
Right there. It's like they're using the oil for, China, other dictators, other areas that are quite frankly opposed to the United States. Why in the hell would we ever want them to get the oil? Why would we want that? It's like, we don't want that. These people literally prey upon our downfall. Why would any American person want these other countries to get the oil and to use it against us? It doesn't make any sense. Like, use your brain for a second. Why would you ever want that? Screw them. No. Like, come on.
Benefiting the United States and the region.
You talk about a holistic transition. I think there's a lot of focus on potential elections. How soon will elections be held? Within 30 days, Mr. Secretary?
What is this lady even asking, dude? It's been one fucking day since he's been captured. One day, and you're already well, who's gonna do it? It's like, we don't freaking know, dude. It's too early. It's like, come on now. One day, like, oh, when's this gonna happen? It's like, give it a little time here. My goodness.
Sorry?
Look, he's just like, I'm trying to keep a straight face and not lose it on this absolute Karen right now. That's literally what his face is saying.
Elections? Well, look,
Yeah, exactly.
It's been governed by this regime now for 14 or 15 years. The elections happened a long time ago.
100%.
It did happen. They lost them, and they didn't count the votes, or they refused to count the votes, and everyone knows it. So,
which is what a dictator does. Yeah, exactly. One of the many things.
All of that, I think, is premature at this point. There's a lot of work to be done here. Right now, what we are focused in, let's be realistic here, what we are focused on right now is all of the problems we had with when Maduro was there. We still have those problems in terms of them needing to be addressed. We are going to give people an opportunity to address those challenges and those problems. Until they address it, they will continue to face this oil quarantine. They will continue to face pressure from the United States. We will continue to target drug boats if they try to run towards the United States. We will continue to seize the boats that are sanctioned with court orders. We will continue to do that and potentially other things until the things we need to see addressed are addressed.
And that's the way it works.
Above everything else, we care about elections, we care about democracy, we care about all of that. But the number one thing we care about is the safety, security, well-being, and prosperity of the United States.
And that's a great answer right there. That's exactly all it should be every time. Every time. And making sensible choices to further the United States and not allow these communists and dictators to come in and take Venezuela's oil and like all this other stuff. No, screw that. We don't want that. Why would we? Doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Let's use our brains for a second here. That's it.
And that's what we're going to focus on first and foremost here. And that's what these policies, these changes we need to see made are about.
Okay, significant there. You say you will continue to seize boats when necessary. I want to ask you about boots on the ground. A lot of attention.
Oh my gosh.
That. The president was asked about the possibility of U.S. boots on the ground. He said, quote, "We're not afraid of it." How many
of course we're not.
forces are on the ground right now in Venezuela?
Oh, boots on the... Oh, let's try to frame it like we're at war. We're not at war, lady. Stop trying to act like... It's literally just framing something that's not even happening. A made-up fairy tale story.
Are there any?
We don't have U.S. forces on the ground.
Of course not.
No, we don't have U.S. forces.
Why would we?
Everyone knows.
We got the guy, and then we got out.
Capture Maduro. And I think what the president is saying is very simple, and that is, as president of the United States, he is not going to go around telling people what he's not going to do. He's not going to go around saying, I won't do this, I won't do that. Yes, I care about this issue, but I'll only go so far. He retains all this optionality. And the particular case you're citing, this was, in essence, at its core.
And why would you go around and telling everybody like all that? It doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, I mean, you want to retain optionality, of course. Why would you not? Because once you say something, then you get locked into it, and it's like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't the right move, and then you're basically screwed. Like, yeah, of course you want to retain optionality. It makes complete sense.
A law enforcement function. Okay, the Department of Justice, dating back in the Biden administration, that had a $25 million reward for his capture. So we have a reward for his capture, but we're not going to enforce it. That's the difference between President Trump and everybody else. All these, it's easy to make a wanted poster and say $50 million for the capture of Maduro, but no one takes that seriously because you're not going to do anything about it.
Exactly.
Trump did something about it.
Does that mean Biden has to pay Trump 50 mil now? Wouldn't that be hilarious? So what, do we pay ourselves now? Is that how that works? Like, oh my gosh.
Let me ask
you. He did something about it. We went in, we grabbed him, he was arrested, and he's now in New York. No Americans were killed, no equipment was lost.
Bingo bongo.
And it's been done. And I assure you, the people left behind in Venezuela now that are in charge of the police and everything else, I assure you, they're going to probably be a lot more compliant than Maduro was as a result of this.
Well, President Trump told the New York Post there won't be troops in Venezuela as long as Delcy Rodriguez, quote, does what we want. She's already, though, demanding the release of Nicolas Maduro. As you know, she's insisting that her country never become a colony. What exactly?
Dude, they're not. Oh my gosh, what a stupid thing to say. Yeah, of course, you guys aren't going to become a colony of the United States. Like, my goodness. Why? Like, why? What? Like, why? What would that serve? We're not going to become a, like, then don't. Plain and simple, don't do it. See, they always do this. The main news networks always do this framing and this, what's happened? It's just like, lady, calm down. It's been one day. Let's, we got things to deal with. Get our shit together, and then we'll move forward. It's just like the stupidest stuff, always.
You guys need to do to keep U.S. troops out of Venezuela.
We're not going to go there.
Well, forget about
what?
The U.S. portion of it. What needs to happen
oh my
for
gosh.
any of this to change, for our relations with Venezuela to change and our whole approach to it to change, the things we have talked about are the ones I've highlighted already.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't flood this country with gang members.
It's like, how many times does he have to repeat himself? Like, what?
You can't flood this country with drugs that are coming out of Colombia through Venezuela with the cooperation of elements of your security forces. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Russia, for Hezbollah, for China.
All of our enemies that are taking their oil and then using the oil to potentially plot against us. Yeah. Oh, we don't want that? Oh, gee, you don't say. That's almost like common sense right there. Of course we don't want that. How, like, anyone who wants that hates us. Put it that way. Anyone here in this country that wants those things that he just said hates us. We don't want our enemies getting all this oil. We don't want that. It's like, come on now. It's like, why would you want your enemy? It's like going to your mortal enemy and being like, you're winning a fight against them, and you're like, you know what? Here, actually, I'm going to hand you this weapon. I'm going to leave my weapon to the side. I'm going to hand you this weapon. And then, yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Like, come on now. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid.
For the Cuban intelligence to control that country, that cannot continue.
Exactly.
Those things cannot continue to be in place. You cannot continue to have the largest oil reserves, in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, not benefiting the people of Venezuela and stolen.
Yeah, that should be Venezuelan oil first and foremost. They should be able to use that for what they want. And then if, like, I don't want our adversaries to get it, these other countries. I don't want that. Like, if they want to do a deal with us, then yeah, that would be good. Or maybe one of our adversaries that isn't, one of our allies that, is on the same side as us, wants similar things, and we work well together with, we work well with them, then yeah, that's fine. But why would you ever want your adversaries to get access to all this oil and all these resources that will quite literally only be used to commit to our downfall as a nation? Like, why would you ever want that? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
By a handful of oligarchs around the world, including inside of Venezuela, but not benefiting the people of that country. We've seen how our adversaries all over the world are exploiting and extracting resources from Africa, from everywhere. They're not going to do it in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. They're not. That is not going to happen under President Trump. Read our national security strategy. He is serious about it, and he's going to do something about it, and we're doing something about it.
Let me ask you about oil. The president says the U.S. is taking over the oil. The question is, I guess, if the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry?
Well, we don't need to.
Yeah, we don't need to, lady.
Back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States.
Bingo.
Yeah,
as he said 5 times
need their oil? Why
already.
Does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Bingo.
We also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014 because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is? The number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement is they're afraid of another mass migration event. That's what they fear. This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen. They are not going to come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
Let's talk big picture here. U.S. regime change, historically speaking, has not gone very well for the United States. In Iraq, in Libya, to name a few examples. Can you assure Americans, the people of the United States, that this time will be different?
Well, here's what's happened. We've got this phobia built up and this sort of thing that's it's like, number one, most of the experts that people have on television, I watch these experts and it's clown hour. Okay, these are people that have focused their entire career on the Middle East or some other part that's where all the action was. Very few of them know anything about Venezuela or the Western Hemisphere. Venezuela looks nothing like Libya. It looks nothing like Iraq. It looks nothing like Afghanistan. It looks nothing like the Middle East other than the Iranian agents that are running through their plotting against America. Okay?
Exactly.
Western countries with long traditions among their at a people-to-people and cultural level and ties to the United States. So there's nothing like that. So I think people need to stop ascribing the apples and oranges here, the apples of the Middle East to the oranges of the Western Hemisphere. Number two, this is about the national interest of the United States. And what I'm confident of is we are in a safer and better place because we're taking it seriously. The alternative would have been to leave Maduro there as an indicted drug trafficker, illegitimate president, running the country, open invitation for all of our adversaries to do whatever they want against the United States from Venezuela. That was not going to continue. The alternative would have been to allow a drug trafficker to continue to use national territory and elements of nation-state power to further drug trafficking organizations. Read the indictment. This guy used the levers of their security apparatus not to arrest drug traffickers, but to cooperate and facilitate the trafficking of drugs for the purpose of getting them into the United States.
Exactly.
To stop.
And yet, Mr. Secretary, a month ago, President Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was just starting a 45-year sentence for trafficking more than 500 tons of cocaine. Does that not undercut the administration's stated goal, as you just said, to go after these narco-terrorists?
Number one, the former president of Honduras. So this is not someone who was in power, had any influence with the politics of Honduras any longer. Number two, I don't do the pardon file. I'm not against it or for it. I just didn't review the file. So I can't speak to you about the dynamics that led the president to make the decision that he made. I think he talked about it yesterday at the press conference. He reviewed the file. He went through the arguments in it, and he felt that the former president of Honduras was treated very unfairly by the previous administration and made the decision that he made. But I think the answer, whether you agree with that decision or not, people can disagree. I mean, there's people out there who make a living out of disagreeing with anything President Trump does. That doesn't mean you leave Maduro in place. That doesn't mean you don't go after Maduro. That's not the answer. I see people saying that. It's like, well, you know, how can you go after Maduro if you didn't do this? That's absurd.
Literally, it makes no sense. Oh, how could you go after this narco-terrorist and dictator? Like, how could you ever think that was the right thing to do? How could you ever think it? Well, gee, I wonder why. How could we ever think that? Yeah, because we have common sense, you know, just that alone. We just have some common sense, really. That's it. It's like, come on, dude. People just, oh my God. So freaking
The
annoying.
answer to that, whether you have a problem with it or not, is not to leave in place someone who's been indicted, who hasn't even faced American justice yet, but now will.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I was referencing, obviously, the former president. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles told Vanity Fair that an attack on Venezuela's mainland would require approval from Congress. Why didn't that happen, and will it happen with any future action the administration plans to take?
So why didn't you tell our enemies that we were going to come get them before we went to go get them? Why didn't you do that? That's what she just asked. Why didn't you do that? Well, gee, I wonder why. Why didn't we tell our enemies that we were going to go get them before we were going to go get them? Oh, maybe because we're not friggin' idiots. And that would be the stupidest, absolute stupidest thing that we could do. Ay, ay, ay.
In Venezuela or elsewhere.
This was not an action that this was not an action that required congressional approval. In fact, it couldn't require congressional approval because this was not an invasion. This is not an extended military operation. This is a very precise operation that involved a couple of hours of action. It was a very delicate operation, too. It was one that required all these conditions to be in place at the right time in the right place. You couldn't afford leaks. We couldn't afford anything out there that would have endangered the mission and gotten people killed or killed off the mission and the optionality. We didn't even know if the mission was going to happen. How can you notify something you're not even sure if it can happen? Because in order for it to happen, you needed to have weather conditions in place. He needed to be at the right place at the right time. We needed to have forces prepared to go. There were a lot of factors in place. It was a trigger-based operation. You can't notify that, number one, because you don't even know what's going to happen, if those conditions will ever align. And number two, you can't risk it being disclosed. But this was not an attack on Venezuela. This was a law enforcement function to capture an indicted drug trafficker. And of course, we needed the Department of War to support it because they do have
Chief Executive Karen
that could shoot down those helicopters.
But will you?
Of course.
Take down radars. We had to take down those anti-air elements on the way in and on the way out, and that's what this was limited to.
But will you seek congressional approval for any further action in Venezuela or the region?
Well, that depends. Do the things require congressional approval or not? Chief Executive Karen, do they require it or not? Like, such, again, framing. That's what she's trying to do. Oh, you guys did this, and like, shut up, dude. No, we didn't. You're making up stuff in your head, of course, because that's what you do.
Well, we will seek congressional approval for actions that require congressional approval.
Oh, yeah, like I just said.
Otherwise, they will get congressional notification. And this is not an operation that required congressional approval. In fact, this is an operation akin to what virtually every single president in the last 40 years has conducted.
But when Trump does it, it's way different. Because, what's the reason it's different? Oh, yeah, because it's Trump. But it's okay if Biden and Obama do these things, no one's going to bat an eye. But if Trump does it, oh no. They did it. They did the thing. Oh. It's just like,
the difference
so
is that when
stupid.
it's Donald Trump, all these Democrats
exactly.
go bonkers.
Yep.
The Cuban government, the Trump
Bingo.
administration's next target, Mr. Secretary? Very quickly.
Well, the Cuban government is a huge problem. Yeah. The Cuban government is a huge problem. First of all,
is that a yes?
Cuba, but I don't think people fully.
Why would he tell you, lady? What did he literally just say? Yeah, we're not going to tell people things that we're going to do like that before we do that. Like, of course, he's not going to tell you. That is, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, oh my gosh.
I think they're in a lot of trouble. Yes, I'm not going to talk to you about what our future steps are going to be. And
yeah, of course not.
Right now in this regard, but I don't think it's any mystery that we are not big fans of the Cuban regime, who, by the way, are the ones that were propping up Maduro. His entire internal security force, his internal security apparatus is entirely controlled by Cubans. One of the untold stories here is how, in essence, you talk about colonization, because I think you said Dulce Rodriguez mentioned that the ones who have sort of colonized, at least inside the regime, are Cubans. It was Cubans that guarded Maduro. He was not guarded by Venezuelan bodyguards. He had Cuban bodyguards. In terms of their internal intelligence, who spies on who inside to make sure there are no traitors, those are all Cubans.
All right. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, thank you for joining us after an incredibly busy 48 hours.
Thank you for joining us. Me, Chief Executive Karen. Okay, so now we saw what happened. Let's see the reactions to it. So, right here. Paid protesters, emphasis on paid. Timeline doesn't add up. Maduro was captured around 2 a.m. on Saturday in Venezuela. 7 a.m., New York City. Protesters are already out on the streets. Huh? How did that happen? 5 hours. You guys should have been asleep. And yet you're wake up and immediately the first, like, yeah, they're paid for sure. 100%.
It just dawned on me. And maybe I'm the only one, okay? But am I the only one who's wondering how in the world these protesters get these highly produced signs so fast?
Exactly.
No. Let's run down the timeline, okay? Help me do the math, okay?
No blood for oil. It's always the stupidest things on these signs too. No blood for oil. Oh, well, Maduro was spilling a lot of his own people's blood for it at the to the benefit of our enemies and the communist dictatorships. He seemed to be doing that. Where was your sign then? Oh, no U.S. war. Well, that's good because we're not at a war right now. Yeah, we're not at war. So, yeah, another stupid sign. Imagine that. Imagine these absolute buffoons out here with stupid signs like we've seen time and time again. Oh my gosh, can't be. Trump must go because he captured a dictator and brought him to justice when no one else would do it. No one else wanted to capture a dictator who was destroying his people's lives from the inside out, but Trump did it. But he's got to go because he did the good thing. Yeah, like, you're an idiot. What an absolute idiot.
Hey, these people can't be paid. So,
yeah, literal paid protesters.
Trump, he captured Maduro at
like, these people don't even look like they know where they're at. They're just like, oh, like wandering around. Like, yeah, we have nothing better to do, so we're going to go and hold up our signs that are absolutely stupid and don't make any sense logically. And we're just going to, it's just like, my gosh, you people are so annoying. Like, nothing better to do.
At around 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, okay? Because he loved to do stuff in the middle of the night. So, 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, Trump captured Maduro. By 7 a.m., a few hours later, thousands of people across America were in the streets with highly produced signs saying no war in Venezuela, no blood for oil. Who? How in the hell? They either have the equipment in their bedrooms to make these signs, but there is no way in the world that a president of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief, okay, can capture a narco dictator at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then by 7 a.m., a bunch of lunatic, unhinged liberals
Oh my gosh. These people are just literally fed lies and they consume them nonstop. They consume lies like a professional eater consumes food. Ridiculous. And then, yeah, look, he has a point. I mean, look at how well made, big these signs are. Like, you people just stay strapped with this stuff in your house. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep all these. It just doesn't make sense, bro. They're 100% paid, 100% paid protest. And you've seen it before. Other people will go around and interview people, and they're like, "So what are you fighting against?" And they're like, this thing. And it's like, okay, why is this thing bad? Because it is. And it's like they don't even know like why they're there because they're paid. So stupid, dude.
Highly produced about Venezuela and with Maduro's name printed on it and all highly, I mean, good quality print too.
Yeah.
How did they get them that fast?
It's a good question. 5-hour window in the dead of the night, and these people have all this stuff. Seems a little too good to be true.
I mean, can somebody please sit up at what stores, what local shops are able to do that within a few hours? He captured Maduro at 2 o'clock in the morning. How the hell did they get a company to print these signs at 7 a.m.?
Yeah, literally.
Print them at 6 a.m. because people had the signs at 7 a.m. Well, they had to print them at maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. These people had the signs at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. And then that's the people in the United States, I believe in New York City, doing all that. Oh no, no war on Venezuela. Oh no, this, and then they're crying like Karens. This is what's going on in Venezuela, or sorry, Panama, and this is Venezuelan people celebrating. Like, look at the difference. Actual Venezuelan citizens right here. Yeah, seems like they're pretty happy, doesn't it? Look at all those people out there. Time to celebrate because the dictator's been taken out. It's exactly what's going on here. No rioting. People are happy. Look at this. Look at how happy they are, dude. It's so crazy. It's like in the United States, we have these people with their fake signs and they're lying. And oh, we did. And then the actual people that it impacts directly are out here celebrating. That should tell you all you need to know. And then I saw this. This is hilarious. This meme. And then, so remember the Karen was talking about like, oh, congressional approval and war. And no one's at war, first and all.
No kings, right?
But remember
That's what
this.
they kept saying, just so I'm tracking, no kings. That's funny. Obama bombed a country for 7 months without asking Congress. Nobody called him a king. In fact, they called him a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Let me show you how this game actually works. When Obama wanted to kill somebody, he used something called the AUMF. That's a permission slip from 2001. It said he could go after anyone tied to 9/11. Bin Laden, UMF. Al-Zawahiri, AUMF. 142 drone strikes in countries we never declared war on. That's right.
Bingo.
AUMF.
Yeah.
2,797 people dead, including our.
And where was that Karen before from NBC? Where was she at whenever that stuff was going on? Did she go up to the president and be like, oh, are you doing this? Oh, trying to paint all these fake narratives? No, of course not. Of course they weren't. Of course not. Why would they? So ridiculous. But now that Trump does it, of course they're going to be all over it. All over it. And you're going to have all these fake protests and rallies and it's just like, cry me a river, dude. People are so ridiculous.
Own people. Congress never voted, not once. No kings though, right? But
Yeah.
Here's where it gets good. In 2011, Obama wanted to take out Gaddafi. There was just one problem. Gaddafi had nothing to do with 9/11. No AUMF, no permission slip. So Obama's lawyers came up with a trick. They said,
oh, they probably came up with some other random documents. That, oh, yeah, we can do this. It's just snake behavior.
we're not at war. We're just dropping bombs from the air with no troops on the ground. So it doesn't count as hostilities. That's a real legal argument from the White House in writing. Congress said that it didn't pass the sniff test. Obama did it anyway. For 7 months, Gaddafi ended up dead in a ditch. No impeachment, no hearings, no King's protests.
Yep.
In fact, the New York Times called it humanitarian intervention.
It's because the opposition, which in this case would be the right, aren't lunatics, and they know that Gaddafi was a terrible person and committed atrocities, and something had to be done about it. That's why there was no opposition when that happened, because the people with common sense look back and see it, and they're like, you know what? They look at it, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. That's actually a good thing. Okay. But then we do something, and it's like, no, you can't do that. You can't go after a narco-terrorist and dictator who's destroyed his people's lives from the inside out. You can't do it. And then we're going to throw protests in the streets and try to frame things on the news that aren't the way they actually are. That's what happens every time. That's why you can't trust the main news network. Like, that's what they always do. It's so annoying. So annoying.
Fast forward to now. Trump sent troops into Venezuela, grabbed Maduro, flew him to New York to face drug charges.
Bingo.
Just so we're on the same page, he's still alive.
Yep.
Some Democrats who said nothing about Libya, now they're screaming.
And now they're trying to paint it that we're at war with, oh, when's the war? Like, there is no freaking war, you idiots. There is no war. Stop being stupid.
Chuck Schumer, reckless. Tim Kaine, illegal war. Hakeem Jeffries,
Yeah.
Unauthorized use of force. Now they remember the Constitution.
Hakeem Jeffries is so stupid,
here's the
dude.
thing they don't want you to notice. Trump's lawyers used the same playbook, just a different page. Obama said, it's not war because there's no troops on the ground. Trump said, it's not war because we don't recognize him as president. He's just a drug dealer with a flag. That's not new. That's the Noriega precedent from 1990. When Bush invaded Panama to grab Noriega, the court said, if America doesn't recognize you as a real leader, you don't get immunity. Trump's DOJ dusted off that same case, same courthouse, Southern District of New York. So let's be clear about what's happening here. Obama used a loophole called no hostilities. Trump used a loophole called no recognition. Obama killed a head of state and called it peacekeeping. Trump arrested a head of state and called it a drug bust. The Constitution didn't change. The law didn't change. The only thing that changed is the color of the president's party. And that's the whole game. When your guy does it, it's decisive action. When their guy does it, it's King Trump. The rules aren't real. They're just talking points with lawyers attached.
Exactly.
No kings, please. They don't hate kings. They just want to pick which one wears the crown. Same loophole, different lawyers.
Exactly.
They're betting you're too stupid to notice. Remember that.
Which is why I'm here, to try to help inform people against that absolute bullshit. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a comment, thumbs up, and leave me a subscription as well. That would be great. Really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate it from all of you. Peace.